أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
ولقد كتبنا في الزبور من بعد الذكر أن الأرض يرثها عبادي الصالحون. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيتها النفس المطمئنة ارجعي إلى ربك راضية مرضية.
Hussain, Hussain, King of martyrs. Hussain, Hussain has been slaughtered. Hussain, Hussain, true believer. Hussain, Hussain, or his people.
لبيك يا حسين،
لبيك يا حسين،
لبيك يا حسين،
لبيك يا حسين،
لبيك يا حسين، لبيك يا
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام على الحسين
وعلى علي بن الحسين
وعلى أولاد الحسين
وعلى أصحاب الحسين.
Assalamu alaikum. May Allah bless you, your family, and your community.
Welcome to Rise With Us,
A program sponsored by Al-Kisa Foundation, Rise Academy, and Sabah Islamic Center. Inshallah, we'll have a great episode for you tonight. We will learn more about the journey of Imām Riḍā alayhi salam from Madina to Khurasan.
and we're going to watch an interview with the famous Nohas that we didn't get to last week.
And inshallah, we'll learn more about Imam Zadas. But first, let's take our hearts to Karbala.
ዐlaykum, welcome back to Volunteer Undercover. Last time we helped Sister Fatima Hadi with the guest services team, where we had a couple hiccups on the way. For example, some people used the vests as capes, and some of the chairs were a little bit heavier than we thought they would be. Overall, we were successful. This time, however, we will be volunteering undercover as part of the security department. And in our case, that is the Sabah Security Department. So let's go help Brother Hashid. Ḥalaykum, Brother Hashid.
ﷺ, brother. What's going on?
Good, alhamdulillah. I signed everything online for the security team.
Okay, you watch the videos and everything?
Yeah, I watched the video.
All right. I got a walkie-talkie for you and your vest. Go ahead and put that on.
Mobile 2, this is Mobile 1 commencing patrol Academy lot. I've got Ashraf on board. His call sign today is going to be Oscar 1.
So what do you guys usually deal with?
Okay, here's what we try to do, okay? We set up the security bubble around the mosque.
Yeah.
To only let in people that we want in and to make sure we keep the bad guys with people that we don't want out.
Yeah.
Now, we're pulling up to driveway 5.
Yeah.
And this is one of our blind spots. So if any bad guys are going to get in and get close to the mosque, like trespassers and such, they're going to come through this right here. And this is where we've got Mobile 2 positioned to screen everybody.
Yeah.
Ḥalaykum. Everything good?
All right, this is a big hot spot right here. Here's what I'm going to need you to do today, okay? There's a church operating over there. We want to make sure our people do not park there, okay? That's number one. Number two, when they're driving through A Street and B Street, just make sure they slow down. People here drive way too fast, so just make sure that they slow down. This thing lights up. Use this as your wand to direct traffic. And if somebody comes over here, ask them to go that way.
Okay.
All right?
So they're going to park
exactly. Is, you know what? You point this way and you go like this, and they'll know exactly what to do. All right?
All right.
I'm going to check up on you in a little bit. Good luck.
All right.
Brother, Salah.
But brother, you almost ran me over.
Time, brother, Salah.
Brother, if you want to pray Jama'ah Salah, come 5 minutes early. You don't run other people over.
Happen, brother. Jama'ah, let
Brother,
brother.
come 5 minutes early next time. 5 minutes early.
Brother, okay, next time, brother.
You're gonna hurt yourself and myself. I don't need but two, brother.
One eternity later.
Brother, really? Brother.
Oh, yeah? Here, brother, here.
Brother, this is the church parking lot to the mosque parking lot. Brother, close your door!
Brother, Salah, brother.
Oscar on this one, he's still on 8th Street in Kisa.
Yep, still here. Copy.
I'm on my way, see you in a second.
On one day, I almost got run over. I had to tell off some guy for parking in the wrong spot. And I tell off another guy, the same guy, for throwing his shoes onto the racks. I don't know what to tell you, man.
Listen, this right here is a thankless job, okay?
Yeah.
You're gonna get yelled at, you're gonna get run over, you're gonna wanna throw your radio and a vest away and go home. However, the satisfaction comes from at the end of the night, the program at the mosque has gone smooth, no kids have been lost, nobody's gotten hurt, no cars have been broken into, no accidents happen. That is the satisfaction that you get. When you get home, put your head on a pillow, know that you've taken care of your responsibility. Listen, welcome on board. It's gonna get better. It's gonna get easier. Sure. All right. We're glad you're on board. Thanks for your service, brother.
Thank you. Yeah.
We'll see you tomorrow. Charge your radio.
Yep. No, I promise. Well, that was another episode of Volunteer Undercover. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time where we're going to be doing something with the kitchen. So stay tuned.
The month of Safar is coming to an end.
In the month of Muharram and Safar, there are some things that traditionally people don't do, such as holding celebrations or weddings?
Yeah, that's always been a question of mine. Like, why, during these times, why don't we celebrate anything?
That's a very good question. Let's ask the ʿAlim.
ዐlaykum, Sheikh.
Wa-Alaikum Assalam. How are you?
I'm good, alhamdulillah. How about yourself?
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah, so I just had a question. During these months of Safar and Muharram, how come if a good life event comes up, such as say a wedding, how come we're not allowed to celebrate that, or it's not good to?
That's a really good question. You know, the months of Muharram and Safar are very special months because of the events that took place in them. And for anybody who has that deep love for the al-Bayt and they have that awareness of what they went through, naturally they're going to be saddened. And you know, it's kind of like, imagine that you have a family member who passes away. When they pass away and also near to that date, you're not going to feel like really celebrating.
Yeah.
And then even like when the anniversary comes up, it's going to be a time of reflection and kind of mourning and remembering them. Especially though, you know, when you're talking about the Imam, the grandson of the Prophet, and the nature of that tragedy, these are things which are very painful, and we've been commanded to remember them and to keep that remembrance and that mourning alive. Now, when it comes to like life events like a wedding, I mean, these are things which can be scheduled and planned. It doesn't have to take place like at a certain time. Now, is it haram or is it allowed? This is where our maraji generally, they say that these days have hurma, they have sanctity. And what's not allowed is doing hatkul hurma, where somebody violates that sanctity. Now, when would they be considered to violate that sanctity? Especially in the first 10 days of the month of Muharram, especially like Tasu'a, Ashura, the 9th and the 10th. And even, you know, those days around Arba'in, right? These are really special times of mourning and remembrance. Now, outside of that, generally speaking, you know, it's not particularly encouraged, and it's something which, you know, is not really part of the culture of the followers of the Ahl-Bayt to have like weddings and, you know, big parties at these times. So especially when it's possible to avoid, you know, it should be scheduled at another time. And this is all goes back to the idea of remembrance, mourning, keeping it alive, and being real with that. Now, should we just not have any happiness during this time and just be glum and down the whole time? That's not natural, and we still have to be balanced. And if the only thing somebody does is cry and mourn, then that wouldn't be healthy for them. So we do need our outlets, we do need our balance, but generally keeping things a little bit somber throughout this time period, and especially those special times that I mentioned, that's really important.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you, Sheikh.
You're welcome.
Ya Imām Riḍā, Salāmun. Ya Imām Riḍā, Salāmun. Ya Imām Riḍā,
We send our condolences to you on the shahādah of Imām Riḍā, Imām Ḥasan, and the Holy Prophet.
Today we're going to learn more about the journey of Imām Riḍā from the city of Madina to Khurasan. How much do you know about this journey?
I mean, I know a little bit. I know, like, for example, he was forced to go to Khurasan by Ma'mun.
That is correct. Ma'mun was the governor of Bani al-Abbas at the time. Now, Imām Riḍā alayhi salam was born in the city of Madina, like most of the Imams, but he was forced to leave his hometown. I think it's important that we first learn more about the city of Madina. So let's go to Sheikh Ahmadi and learn more about the city of Madina.
Salāmun ʿAlaykum jami'an. Today we are going to learn about the holy city of Madina, the second, we can say, important city for all the Muslims and for all the Shias. Why is that important? Number one, the Masjid al-Nabi and the holy grave of Rasulullah. Number 2, the holy grave of Lady Fatima Zahra being located within the city of Medina, although its specific place is unknown as we speak even today. And third, it is the burial place for 4 of our Imams, starting with our second Imam, Imām Ḥasan al-Mujtabā, and going to our fourth Imam, Imām Sajjad, our fifth Imam, Imām Bāqir alayhi salam, and our sixth Imam, Imām Ja'far al-Sadiq alayhi salatu wassalam, which all 4 have been buried in a cemetery named al-Baqīʿ, which is pretty close to the Masjid al-Nabi. And according to the riwayat, whoever recites or offers 2 rakat of prayer in Masjid al-Nabi, that prayer equals to 10,000 prayers in other masajid. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
I pray that all of you get the opportunity to visit Jannat al-Baqīʿ in Medina. Abbas, have you ever been to Baqīʿ?
Yeah, alhamdulillah, I've been there before, many times.
And have you visited the graves of the 4 Imams in Baqīʿ?
Yeah.
And when you saw the graves in that state, how did it make you feel?
Honestly, I was just really saddened to see that 4 Imams of such high status were condensed to such a small grave that nobody can visit.
Now, did you know there used to be a shrine on those 4 graves?
Really?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
And did you know that shrine was destroyed by some people?
I didn't know that either.
There is an extremist ideology that started by some people, for example, a person that you may have heard his name, Ibn Taymiyyah, that came up with new interpretations of Islam, which are very extremist and goes against the teachings of the Holy Prophet. For example, they believe that building a grave or a monument over someone's grave is haram, is not allowed. Or they believe that if a monument is built on a grave, it must be destroyed. And they use such ideologies to go to Jannat al-Baqīʿ and destroy the shrine of Imām Ḥasan, Imām Sajjad, Imām Bāqir, and Imām Sadiq alayhim salam. And that day was a very sad day. Now, what is interesting is the grave of Ibn Taymiyyah himself in the city of Damascus was not destroyed by them. You see, the grave with the stone is untouched. So the people who believe in this ideology didn't touch the grave of the person who started the ideology, but they used the ideology to destroy the graves of al-Bayt and the Imams in Jannat al-Baqīʿ. And by the way, they didn't stop there. They actually went to Karbala and they tried destroying the shrine of Imām Ḥusayn in Karbala. And they looted so much belongings from that shrine and the people who live there, with the extremist ideology that the people who follow al-Bayt and believe in these things are not Muslims. We want to talk about the concept of Imam Zadeh. Abbas, how much do you know about Imam Zadehs?
I know a little bit. I know, for example, most of them are descendants from the Prophet's family.
Very good. Imam Zadeh means the descendants and the children of the Imams. So have you visited the shrine of any Imam Zadeh?
Yeah. I mean, do the Imams count?
I mean, if they're, so Imam Zadehs, the children of the Imams.
Oh, the children of the Imams. I'm sure I have, yeah. When I went to Ziyarah.
Like which ones?
I don't remember any of the names right now.
Like to Qom, when you go to Qom, which shrine do you visit in Qom?
Ma'asuma al-Qom.
Sayyida Ma'asuma is the daughter, is an Imam Zadeh of Imam Musa ibn Ja'far, Imam Kazim alayhi salam. Or actually, when you go to Karbala, right next to the shrine of Imam Ḥusayn is the shrine of Hazrat al-Faz is an Imam Zadeh, is the child of Imam ʿAlī, the son of Imam ʿAlī alayhi salam. Now some of the Imam Zadehs are very famous. But some of them are not famous. In fact, there are thousands of Imamzadas in different cities. Now, many of them were buried in Iran, and many of them were actually martyred because they were fleeing the prosecution and killing of Ben al-Abbas. And the people in Iran were receptive to the Sadat. They welcomed him. To an extent that when Imām Ḥasan got to the city of Nayshabur, and he was talking to the people in that city, they say 25,000 people were writing down what Imām Ḥasan was saying. Now, Imām Ḥasan finally made it to Khurasan. And we know the story that Ma'mun martyred Imām Ḥasan. And Imām Ḥasan was buried in a city where we call Mashhad. Mashhad means the place of shahādah, the place of shahādah of Imām Ḥasan alayhi salam. Let's go to Sheikh Ahmadi and learn more about the city of Mashhad.
ʿAlaykum jami'an. Inshallah, we're going to talk about this holy city of Mashhad, which actually it is considered as the second largest masjid or mosque within the Islamic territory. Now, we have the grave of our 8th Imam, Imam ʿAlī ibn Musa ar-Riḍā, in the city of Mashhad, along with so many graves of the great scholars such as Sheikh Baha'i. Now, beside that, we have so many different attraction for the city of Mashhad, but it is good to know the history of the whereabout where Imam was buried. So Imam is actually buried in front of the grave of a person named Harun al-Rashid, who's an Abbasid Khalif. And it's interesting that we have Imam al-Ma'zum, and behind him we have the grave of Harun. And this was done by the order of Ma'mun, the son of Harun. But of course, he wanted to put the grave, behind the grave of Harun. But with Allah's miracle, they could not, dig the ground behind Harun's grave, and they were forced to open up a grave in front of the Harun's face and place the holy body of Imam al-Riḍā in front of Harun al-Rashid. Jami'an Salāmun ʿAlaykum wa
In this program, we have the honor to interview some of the famous nohas from different cultures. Those who recite in Farsi, in Arabic, in English, and Urdu. Abbas, have you heard the noha Jan Agha, Sana Gurban Agha, Sayyid Olad Shan Agha?
Yeah, of course. I heard it plenty of times, yeah.
Do you know who the reciter is?
Yeah, it was Bani Fatima.
Brother Sayyid Majid Bani Fatima is our special guest tonight.
And it was pretty hard to get a hold of him for the appointment so we can have the interview.
Here's the exclusive interview of Brother Sayyid Majid Bani Fatima with Rise With Us.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم السلام على الحسين وعلى علي ابن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. Assalamu alaikum to all the lovers of Imām Ḥusayn alayhi salam. Today we have a special guest whom you may be familiar with. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Sayyid Majid Bani Fatima. Would you please go ahead and introduce yourself?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. من سید مجید بنی فاطمه هستم. متولد 1356 در تهران.
یا امام حسین روسیایی ما نگاه نکن با هم اومدیم سوا نکن دست خالی ما رها نکن رها نکن خاک پای زائراتم هر شب جمعه به یاد کربلا.
Can you about your first Noah recitation that you can remember? How did you feel when you were reading it?
بله یادم میاد یکی دو تا نوحه‌ای که اولین بار من خونده بودم یکیش برای آقا از ابوالفضل بود اینو میخوندیم با بچه ها عزاداری میکردیم و حال هوای خیلی خوبی داشت نه تنها ما میخوندیم خیلی از دستجاتی که میومدن بیرون این نوحه رو زمزمه میکردن الان یه خورده تمرکز داشته باشم یادم بیاد که برای شما هم این نوحه رو بخونم این بله صفای دشت کربلا ابوالفضل
What feeling did you have when you were reciting this first Noha?
یکی از شیرین ترین احساسا همین بود که وقتی نوحه رو میخوندیم همه نوجوانا و جوانا همدل میشدن این یک دستی و همدلی و با محوریت امام حسین خب یک لذت خیلی بالایی داره بعد میبینی که به عنوان یک نوجوان داری یک نوحه‌ای میخونی که بزرگتران و نوجوانا هم از دختر و پسر همه دارن یک صدا همون چیزی رو میخونن که تو پس نتیجه میگیریم که ما هممون یه عشق واحد داریم اونم امام حسین یعنی هممون میتونیم با محوریت امام حسین همه شیعیان جهان دور هم جمع میشیم
اینجا عالم عشقه روزی هم عشقه اینجاییم و دلیلش رقص پرچم عشقه
Many of the children watching this program want to become a Zakir and Madah like you, but they're afraid they may make mistakes when they're reading in public. What do you suggest they do?
ممنونم نگاه قشنگشون که الان دارن ما رو نگاه میکنن انشالله هر جا هستن دلشون شاد باشه اما این که بله نباید ترسید آدمی که بترسه واقعا نمیتونه کاری رو انجام بده آدمی که میخوره زمین میتونه بلند شه این تازه آدم دارای یک تجربه میشه نباید ترسید باید با برنامه‌ریزی جلو بره اشتباه هم اگر کسی بکنه نداره باز جبران بکنه طوری نیست
اللهم صل علی ابن موسی الرضا المرتضی الامام التقی النبی و حجت کلام الفوق الارض و من تحت الثرى الصدیق الشهید صلاة الكثيرة التامة زاكية متواصلة متواترة مترادفة كأفضل ما صليت على أحد
Nimr was from Qatif, a city located in Hijaz. Nimr was known for his studying. His families and friends would see him getting a book, reading book after book, and trying to learn more things about Islam. Later on, he went to Hawza, and he became a famous scholar. Ayatollah Nimr was later martyred by the enemies of al-Bayt for spreading the message of Imām Ḥusayn alayhi salam. I hope this program is inspiring you to spread the message of Imām Ḥusayn, to contribute to the majalis of Imām Ḥusayn. Till the next episode, and next time that we visit your home, farewell. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Salāmun wa ala Ali ibn al-Husayn wa ala awlad al-Husayn wa ala ashabi